Hi, we're here today. We're at Vivo Barefoot Training Clinic. Cool. With Ben
Levacon.
Okay. I got invited down today to kind of check out Vivo Barefoot's lab. Really excited to come down here and check it out today. Just been hanging out for a couple of hours, just talking about
looking at the plantar pressure.
Yeah, using the plantar pressure machine, and just got my stance evaluated and that kind of thing. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to hand you over to Ben. He's going to talk through what we did today, and we're going to show you a little bit of footage vicariously through my camera of what we've been doing on the treadmill. So I'm going to hand you over to Ben. So yeah, Ben, what have we done today, mate?
So initially we used the plantar pressure machine to actually, I think we can actually get that on there.
Sweet. So Ben's just going to try and power up the screen to see what's been happening. As usual, these things don't usually work when you want them to.
We'll have to, I think Lee might have flipped that over actually before he left the...
Oh, that's cool.
Let's see if we can get that going, so it'd be good to, maybe you can shove in one of the stills. So the plantar pressure machine really just checks your posture. It checks where your centre of balance is, and also the peak pressure point. Most people are unaware that their peak pressure point should actually be the big toe when you're stood in a straight position, and you should have an even weight distribution between the front, between your ball of your foot and the heel, but with the peak pressure on the big toes. Just trying to encourage that natural posture.
Sweet.
Okay.
So we went over to the kind of the treadmill and did a bit of work with the camera. You've got a bit of software up here just to kind of track what I'm doing. Is there any chance we could just talk me through what's going on the screen here? Yeah.
So on the left we've got Lee as in his running form before. We did some micro skills and just checked his contact time on the floor, checked his posture. So what we're actually seeing on the left is that it's a slower stride. The posture is a little bit bent at the hip. The head's a little bit far forward, not the crown poking to the sky. The chin's up a little bit. You've also got your, there's a little bit of a heel strike there, which you can see on the right hand side when that kicks back in again.
So in this one, I'm actually wearing Vibram 5 fingers. So Ben, what do you think is happening there with the Vibram 5 fingers? Anything in terms of the heel strike, or is that maybe a contributing factor, do you reckon? Or
I mean, it can be a contributing factor for sure. I mean, relative to most cushion shoes and minimalist shoes, 5 fingers have have got a very thin sole, so they're definitely going to allow you for a greater proprioceptive feedback. But the goal here is to maximize your proprioceptive feedback, and doing it barefoot is going to be an improvement. So
so this is the on the footage here. You can see I've got me barefoot completely on treadmill. So what are the kind of changes here? Because you gave me a few coaching cues. So what are the changes here that you can kind of you've coached into me?
We did some squats to just check the posture. We've also put a metronome on there to make sure that you're running with the right cadence, being 180, although in reality it's around 180, it's not set in stone. Also, to do some hamstring pulls. You can see on the left hand side your leg is trailing a little bit more than it should do, so the goal is to minimise the contact time on the floor and actually minimise the joint torques. Now by that, what we mean is to have your trailing leg closer in, not as far out when your other leg is hitting the floor. Right? So you can see you've actually, your foot is landing more directly underneath your body, and your trailing leg is actually closer to your ass when that foot is landing and hitting.
Boom. Right there. So if we compare that, you can kind of see how far I'm striking out here, right there, and I'm kind of a bit lapsidaisical with my trailing leg, so it's really important. Okay, so little interlude there. We're just going to come back to Ben, who's going to talk about, we did a little trial on the treadmill with the Vivos on. They were, what make were they again? The Vivo?
It's the Aqua Light.
Aqua Light, okay, so what's going on here?
So on the left hand side you've taken your shoes off. That's before we did a little bit of the micro coaching drills, so before we did some squats, before we did some basic plyometrics to speed up your contact time to minimize the amount of time your foot is on the floor. So on the left, you can see a slightly slower cadence, you can see a slightly longer trailing leg, and a little bit more of a lean at the hip. Whereas we've just tightened that up in the example in the video on the right. It's a straighter posture, your crown is poking to the sky, so chin's in a bit more. Hands are arguably a little bit higher and more relaxed. Quicker cadence, and you're pulling your leg more, so that when your right leg hits the floor, when your right foot hits the floor, your left foot is actually a little bit higher up and a little bit closer towards your bum. It's just reducing the joint torques. That's the main goal there.
Cool.
Posture, rhythm, relaxation.
Cool. Well, I have to say, Ben, thanks very much.
Good stuff. Nice one.
Just hand you back.
There we go.
Yeah, had a really good experience here. Did a little bit of work with Ben and did with Lee as well. It was really good to get down and just, again, be a blank canvas and absorb, and then feedback to you guys on what's going on. I hope you've enjoyed watching, and hopefully we'll be blogging about this and talking about it soon. Cheers.
Nice one, Lee.